What if one of the most sacred objects in human history, the Ark of the Covenant, is not lost forever, but hidden beneath one of the most revered mountains in the world? What if clues that seemed forgotten are resurfacing today, pointing anew to Mount Nebo? Could it be that prophecy watchers, historians, and local traditions are coming closer than ever to something long thought impossible? Some believe the mystery of the Ark may finally be drawing back its veil, but the question remains. Could the Ark really be hidden beneath Mount Nebo? The Ark of the Covenant has occupied a unique place in religious tradition and myth for thousands of years. Described in the Hebrew Bible as the sacred chest housing the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments, covered in gold and guarded by cherubim, it vanished from the historical record during times of turmoil. Historians suggest many possible theories about its disappearance. That it was taken to Babylon, hidden under the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, transported to Ethiopia, or lost entirely. Yet fresh attention is being paid to an ancient tradition that the prophet Jeremiah, anticipating the destruction of Jerusalem, hid the ark together with the tent of meeting and the altar of incense in a cave on Mount Nebo. Mount Nebo rises in modern-day Jordan, across the Jordan River from the traditional Promised Land. It is the place where Moses, according to the book of Deuteronomy, ascended to see the Promised Land before dying, never entering it himself. Archaeological discoveries there include Byzantine churches, monasteries, and tombs. Excavations have uncovered a 4th-century basilica, expanded in later centuries, with intricate mosaics and monastic quarters. While its religious importance is undeniable, there has been little credible archaeological evidence pointing toward any hidden chamber or cave that could house something of the Ark's magnitude. The earliest textual source associating Mount Nebo with the hiding of the Ark comes from 2 Maccabees 2:4-10. According to that text, Jeremiah foresaw the destruction of Jerusalem by the Babylonians and carried the Ark, along with other sacred items, to a cave on Mount Nebo. He sealed the entrance, and some of those who followed him came up to mark the way, but could not find it. That cave, according to the tradition, would remain hidden until a future time when it was divinely revealed. This story is accepted in some Christian traditions, including Catholic and Orthodox, but is not part of the Hebrew Bible itself. Historians suggest the tradition has theological weight. It presents the Ark as something tied to divine promise and hidden preservation rather than merely a relic. Other major theories compete with the Mount Nebo idea. Many scholars believe the Ark was hidden somewhere in Jerusalem, possibly beneath the Temple Mount. Some Jewish rabbinic sources suggest that King Josiah or temple priests foresaw the Babylonian siege and hid the Ark in secret chambers under the sanctuary. Architect Leon Rittmeyer identified in ancient bedrock under the dome of the rock a rectangular cavity he believes may correspond to where the Ark once stood, but excavations there are limited by religious and political constraints. Another prominent tradition claims the Ark resides in Ethiopia, at the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum. Ethiopian Orthodox Christians hold that it was brought there by Menelik I, purported son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Critics point out the lack of verifiable archaeological proof and the limited external scrutiny of that site. Other theories place the Ark in Babylon, hidden in caves near the Dead Sea, or lost to history altogether. Why, then, has the idea of Mount Nebo returned to the spotlight now? Several factors have stirred recent interest. Media outlets have highlighted renewed fascination with the 2 Maccabees account and its implicat. Why, then, has the idea of Mount Nebo returned to the spotlight now? Several factors have stirred recent interest. Media outlets have highlighted renewed fascination with the 2 Maccabees account and its implication that Jeremiah's cave might still be somewhere on the mountain. Mount Nebo remains a site of active archaeological study for its Christian pilgrimage significance, and while no evidence of the Ark has been found, the site's ancient churches, mosaics, tombs, and hidden spaces continue to intrigue researchers. Social media and alternative history forums have also amplified rumors, including sensational but unverified stories of secret government files or hidden chambers. The reopening of the Moses Memorial after renovations has drawn more visitors and renewed archaeological surveying, which fuels speculation that new discoveries could surface. Supporters of the Mount Nebo theory point to several compelling aspects. First is the textual basis. 2 Maccabees gives a detailed account of Jeremiah sealing the ark in a cave and followers being unable to find it. Second is the geographical plausibility. Mount Nebo's rugged and remote terrain, with its natural caves, could provide ideal hiding places for sacred items. Unlike the politically sensitive Temple Mount, Mount Nebo has seen less continuous excavation aimed at finding the ark, leaving many areas potentially unexplored. There is also the symbolic resonance of the site, the very place where Moses viewed the Promised Land but did not enter. For believers, the symbolism of promise and hidden fulfillment is powerful. Finally, local Christian communities have long recognized Mount Nebo as a place of mystery and pilgrimage, and oral traditions may preserve hints of older stories. Yet challenges and skepticism abound. There is no credible archaeological evidence confirming the presence of the ark at Mount Nebo. The historical reliability of 2 Maccabees is debated, with some scholars seeing it as theological storytelling rather than historical reportage. Despite archaeological work on the mountain, no cave has been documented that clearly fits the description of being sealed in ancient times and large enough to contain the Arkansas. Dating is another issue. Any cave entrance would have to survive over 2,500 years of natural erosion, seismic activity, and possible human interference. Political and religious sensitivities also complicate exploration. While Mount Nebo is easier to access than Jerusalem's Temple Mount, the discovery of such a powerful religious artifact would carry immense implications, requiring careful international handling. Recent rumors add intrigue but little concrete evidence. Stories of a secret CIA file, allegedly revealing the ark's location, circulate online but lack verifiable documentation. Articles referencing the Mount Nebo theory often quote 2 Maccabees and sometimes scholars, but they generally rely on folklore or speculation rather than new archaeological findings. Advances in remote sensing, such as satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar, have enabled the discovery of underground structures in many regions. Yet no published data indicate that these technologies have revealed a suitable cave under Mount Nebo. If someone were to move the Mount Nebo theory from possibility to credible archaeology, they would need substantial evidence. A cave or chamber reliably dated to around 586 BCE, with features consistent with the storage of sacred objects, inscriptions referencing Jeremiah or the Ark, and artifacts matching biblical descriptions of temple furnishings. Organic material like wood or cloth would likely have decayed, but gold plating or decorative motifs might survive. Independent, peer-reviewed archaeological For many believers, the search for the Ark is not only a historical puzzle but a matter of prophecy and faith. Some prophecy watchers suggest that the reappearance of sacred objects tied to ancient covenants could signal the fulfillment of end-times prophecies. Others see the Ark's disappearance and potential future revelation as a symbol of divine plan rather than a literal event. Historians caution against drawing absolute conclusions, emphasizing the difference between faith and verifiable fact. The mystery of the Ark remains a potent symbol that inspires spiritual reflection as much as archaeological curiosity. If you're fascinated by these possibilities and want to follow every credible development as it unfolds, now is the perfect time to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Your engagement helps us bring you new discoveries and thoughtful explorations connecting ancient tradition with modern investigation. Do you believe the Ark might lie beneath Mount Nebo? Or do you favor theories pointing to the Temple Mount, Ethiopia, or another hidden location? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the discussion. Mount Nebo itself offers intriguing archaeological features worth closer examination. Excavations by the Franciscan archaeologists of the Studium Biblicum have revealed a basilica, monastic structures, and tombs hollowed from rock beneath mosaic floors. Evidence shows occupation as far back as the early Bronze Age, though it is unclear how continuous the presence was during the critical period of the First Temple's destruction. The mountain's rugged terrain contains many natural caves and fissures, any of which might have provided an ideal hiding place in ancient times. Yet no inscriptions or artifacts discovered so far directly reference Jeremiah or the Ark. Scholars weigh these factors carefully. Many acknowledge the tradition in 2 Maccabees as significant but caution that it may be more theological than historical. Some argue the Temple Mount theory carries stronger textual weight despite the difficulty of excavation there. Others emphasize that the power of the Ark's mystery lies in its very uncertainty, which allows it to inspire faith and pilgrimage across cultures and generations. Sensational rumors, whether about government files or secret digs, tend to capture the imagination but rarely withstand academic scrutiny. Future research might employ ground-penetrating radar or LiDAR to map hidden caves around Mount Nebo. Detailed surveys of every known cave, correlated with ancient texts and local oral histories, could bring new insights. Collaborative efforts between Jordanian antiquities authorities and international scholars, supported by transparent peer review, would be essential. Geophysical dating of sealing materials or artifacts might provide critical chronological evidence if a promising cave were found. Imagine walking with archaeologists at dawn up the slopes of Mount Nebo. The air is dry and still, olive trees at the landscape, and the ground crunches underfoot. You notice a narrow fissure partly hidden by brush. Inside lies a chamber of dust and stone, undisturbed for millennia. Fragments of pottery line the floor, a corroded metal fitting gleams faintly, and perhaps faint inscriptions in ancient Hebrew trace across the wall. Could such a scene one day move the Mount Nebo tradition from legend to fact? The possibility continues to draw seekers, scholars, and the faithful alike. This enduring mystery invites us to look beyond mere proof. Whether the Ark remains hidden beneath Mount Nebo or rests elsewhere, its story bridges the ancient and the modern, history and faith, the seen and the unseen. As rumors resurface and technology advances, the question lingers. Is prophecy unfolding today, or are we simply rediscovering the power of a story that has captivated humanity for thousands of years? Picture the late afternoon sun sinking behind Mount Nebo's rocky crest, the desert sky washed in hues of amber and violet. Pilgrims stand at the summit, some quietly praying, others scanning the vast Jordan Valley that Moses himself is said to have gazed upon. The mountain's silence carries a strange gravity, as though the wind itself guards an ancient secret. For many visitors, the question whispers again. Could the Ark of the Covenant still rest somewhere beneath their feet? Local guides often speak of the mountain's layers of history. They tell travelers that Nebo has always been a crossroads, between kingdoms, between faiths, between the seen and the unseen. Bedouin families recount stories passed down through generations, tales of hidden chambers and mysterious lights on moonless nights. Though these accounts are mostly anecdotal, they feed a sense of wonder. Some guides describe how shepherds occasionally stumble across small, unexplored caves in the hillsides, places where the past might still breathe beneath the dust. Archaeologists working in Jordan often stress that the terrain around Mount Nebo remains far from fully surveyed. Rocky escarpments, sudden drops, and ancient landslides make comprehensive exploration difficult. Over centuries, earthquakes have altered the landscape, potentially sealing or revealing caves in unpredictable ways. Scholars from the Jordanian Department of Antiquities note that the region still contains many undocumented hollows and underground voids. Advanced imaging technologies such as ground-penetrating radar and LiDAR have been proposed to map these features more thoroughly, but such projects require funding, careful planning, and official approval. Some researchers have quietly begun compiling databases of satellite images to identify unusual voids or geological anomalies around the mountain. While none of these efforts has produced conclusive evidence of a hidden chamber large enough to house the Ark, they have revealed a number of promising cavities that merit further study. These researchers caution, however, that a cave's existence does not automatically mean it was used for sacred purposes. Caves are common throughout the Jordan Valley, and distinguishing a natural formation from a deliberately sealed sanctuary is no simple task. Visitors to the Franciscan-run Moses Memorial Church at the summit of Mount Nebo often pause to marvel at the extensive mosaics that decorate the floors. These intricate artworks depict vines, birds, and pastoral scenes, reflecting the Byzantine Christian presence that flourished centuries after the time of Jeremiah. Archaeologists point out that beneath these mosaics lie layers of earlier occupation, some dating back to the Bronze Age. Could a deeper, older layer conceal something as significant as the Ark? Some prophecy watchers believe it is possible, though mainstream scholars remain cautious, emphasizing that speculation must be matched with evidence. The Jordanian government, which carefully manages its archaeological heritage, faces a delicate balance. On one hand, the discovery of the Ark would bring immense global attention and tourism. On the other, such a find would carry profound religious implications, potentially sparking disputes or even conflict over ownership and interpretation. Officials generally welcome responsible archaeological work but emphasize that extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. They stress that any investigation must respect the sacred character of Mount Nebo as a pilgrimage site for Christians, as well as its significance in Jewish and Islamic traditions. Modern technology offers tantalizing possibilities. Teams of geophysicists have demonstrated that non-invasive scanning can reveal chambers many meters beneath solid rock. In theory, these methods could identify sealed voids without disturbing the surface. However, specialists caution that distinguishing a man-made chamber from a natural cavern requires follow-up excavation. And excavation, especially at a religiously sensitive site, demands international cooperation and careful planning. Even if a suspicious cavity were located, the process of verifying its age and contents would be painstaking and could take years. Meanwhile, the cultural fascination with the Ark continues to grow. Television documentaries and online videos attract millions of viewers by blending archaeology with mystery. Some productions speculate boldly, while others take a more measured tone. A recent documentary interviewed Jordanian archaeologists who acknowledged the Mount Nebo tradition as intriguing but unproven. They noted that while several unexplored caves exist in the surrounding hills, none have yielded artifacts conclusively dating to the First Temple period. Religious scholars offered diverse perspectives. A rabbinic historian might remind us that Jewish tradition generally holds the Ark was hidden somewhere within Jerusalem, possibly beneath the Temple Mount. Christian theologians may see the Nebo narrative as a symbol of divine providence, with the Ark preserved until an appointed time. Islamic scholars, while not sharing the same Ark traditions, respect Mount Nebo for its connection to Prophet Musa, Moses, who is honored in the Quran. Each viewpoint adds layers of meaning to the mystery, demonstrating how a single story can bridge multiple faiths without belonging exclusively to any one of them. Consider how the Ark's reappearance, if it were ever proven, could ripple through global culture. Some prophecy watchers say it might signal a new era of spiritual awakening. Others warn that sensational discoveries often invite political tension or misinterpretation. Historians emphasize that extraordinary archaeological finds require rigorous peer review and international oversight. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the mid-20th century, for example, transformed biblical scholarship, but even those scrolls underwent years of careful analysis before their significance was fully understood. Any claim about the Ark would demand equal, if not greater, scrutiny. Amid this speculation, many locals continue their lives largely unaffected by the international buzz. In the small towns near Mount Nebo, Madaba, for instance, daily routines revolve around family, farming, and tourism. Shopkeepers sell mosaics and spices to visitors, occasionally sharing their own versions of the Nebo legends. Some speak of dreams in which lights or voices emanate from the mountain. Others describe ancient inscriptions rumored to exist in hidden valleys. These stories, while impossible to verify, reflect the enduring magnetism of the Ark narrative. Imagine a future scenario in which a joint Jordanian international team conducts a comprehensive subsurface survey of the entire Mount Nebo ridge. Over months, they map every anomaly, every potential cavity. One day, the instruments register a large, sealed chamber deep within a limestone outcrop. The chamber's dimensions suggest deliberate construction. Permits are secured, and a careful excavation begins. Inside, archaeologists find antechambers, evidence of ancient sealing, and perhaps fragments of gold leaf or carved wood consistent with descriptions of the Ark's ornate design. The discovery would electrify the world, uniting scholars, believers, and the simply curious in a single, history-making moment. Yet seasoned archaeologists remind us that even if a chamber were found, identifying it as the resting place of the Ark would be complex. The biblical description of the Ark, acacia wood overlaid with gold, topped by cherubim, is specific, but after more than 2 millennia, organic materials would have deteriorated. Gold could survive, but only fragments might remain, and those could have been removed by ancient looters long ago. Without clear inscriptions or other corroborating artifacts, certainty would remain elusive. Some researchers propose that the real significance of the Ark's story is not the physical object itself, but what it represents. A tangible connection between the divine and humanity. In this view, the Ark's hidden status is almost intentional, a reminder that the sacred is not easily grasped or controlled. Whether the Ark rests in a Jordanian cave, beneath the Temple Mount, or beyond human reach, its power lies in inspiring awe and spiritual reflection. This perspective resonates across faiths and cultures, offering a shared sense of wonder without the need for definitive proof. Still, technology marches forward. Miniaturized robotic probes, advanced sonar, and improved remote sensing promise new ways to explore inaccessible caves. It is not unreasonable to think that within the next decade, areas around Mount Nebo could be scanned more thoroughly than ever before. Each advance raises the possibility that if the Ark or any major relic remains there, it may eventually be detected. Throughout history, claims of finding the Ark have surfaced periodically, often sparking excitement before fading when evidence proved lacking. In the early 20th century, adventurers in Ethiopia claimed to have seen the sacred chest in Aksum, but no photographs or physical evidence were produced. In Jerusalem, secret tunnels have been rumored for generations, with occasional sensational announcements that quickly unravel under scrutiny. The Mount Nebo theory, despite its ancient textual basis, must be approached with the same careful skepticism. Consider the words of a modern biblical archaeologist interviewed in Amman. "We love the mystery, but we have to respect the difference between tradition and proof." The Nebo story is compelling because it bridges scripture, legend, and geography. But until we find datable artifacts directly tied to Jeremiah or the First Temple, it remains a fascinating possibility, not a confirmed fact. While scholars debate and explorers dream, the Ark's story continues to inspire art, literature, and even film. From classic adventure movies to contemporary novels, the image of a golden chest hidden in a remote cave captures imaginations worldwide. Each retelling introduces the legend to new audiences, ensuring that the question, "Where is the Ark?" remains alive. If you're enjoying this deep exploration and want to stay informed about any credible discoveries or new research around Mount Nebo and other ancient mysteries, now is a great moment to subscribe to this channel. By joining our community, you'll be among the first to hear about fresh findings, expert interviews, and carefully researched updates that separate fact from speculation. Turning back to the mountain itself, local scholars emphasize the need for cultural sensitivity in any future investigation. Mount Nebo is not merely an archaeological site. It is a living place of worship and pilgrimage. Franciscan monks still maintain the church and welcome visitors from around the world. Any major excavation would require not only government approval, but also the cooperation of religious communities who view the mountain as sacred ground. Balancing scientific inquiry with spiritual reverence is a challenge that cannot be overlooked. In the broader context of Middle Eastern archaeology, Mount Nebo stands alongside other storied locations such as Petra, Qumran, and the Temple Mount. Each site presents a tapestry of overlapping histories: Bronze Age settlements, Roman roads, Byzantine churches, Islamic shrines. The Ark's possible presence adds yet another layer to Nebo's already complex narrative, linking it to a pivotal moment in biblical history, the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem in 586 BCE. Some historians suggest that the very act of hiding the Ark, if it indeed occurred, reflects a deep human impulse to preserve the sacred during times of crisis. Whether Jeremiah truly carried the Ark to Nebo or another location, the story symbolizes resilience and faith in the face of destruction. It also mirrors patterns found in other cultures, where precious religious artifacts were concealed to protect them from invading armies or desecration. Interestingly, geologists studying the region note that Mount Nebo's limestone composition is prone to forming karst caves, natural voids created by the dissolution of rock over millennia. Such caves can be surprisingly spacious and well hidden. It is conceivable that an ancient priesthood could have adapted one of these natural formations into a secure chamber, sealing it with stone and mortar to safeguard a priceless treasure. Over centuries, erosion and vegetation could have masked any visible entrance, leaving little trace for modern explorers. For those drawn to prophecy, the Nebo tradition holds a special allure. Some prophecy watchers point to passages in Jeremiah and Revelation as hints that the Ark will reappear in a time of spiritual awakening or global upheaval. They see the resurfacing of Nebo rumors as more than coincidence. Still, responsible teachers and scholars consistently caution against declaring any modern event a definite sign of the end times. The emphasis remains on possibility and mystery, not certainty. As night falls on Mount Nebo, the air cools and stars emerge in the vast desert sky. Pilgrims light candles near the church, their soft glow mingling with the ancient stones. The mountain stands silent, as it has for countless generations. Somewhere within its slopes may lie a chamber untouched since the days of Jeremiah, or perhaps nothing more than rock and earth. The power of the story endures regardless, inviting each visitor to ponder the intersection of faith, history, and the enduring human quest for the divine. From this vantage point, the Ark of the Covenant remains both profoundly present and tantalizingly absent. Its legend invites endless exploration, reminding us that some mysteries may be meant not for solving, but for inspiring. Whether or not the Ark rests beneath Mount Nebo, the search itself continues to spark curiosity, humility, and a sense of wonder that transcends time and place. The cold desert night around Mount Nebo deepens, revealing constellations that ancient shepherds once used for navigation. As travelers settle into nearby goose houses or pitch tents on distant ridges, the mountain maintains its quiet watch. Some visitors describe the experience as almost timeless, as if Nebo exists slightly apart from the modern world. It is in this atmosphere of silence and mystery that thoughts of the Ark of the Covenant linger most powerfully. Scholars often point out that our fascination with the Ark is partly about the object itself and partly about what it represents. The Ark was more than a gold-covered chest. It was believed to embody the very presence of the divine. In the Hebrew Bible, it is described as the place where God's presence would meet with the people of Israel, a portable sanctuary for the covenant between Creator and community. Even those who approach the story purely from a historical or anthropological perspective acknowledge that such symbolism carries immense weight. An artifact of that magnitude, if it exists, would not merely be an archaeological discovery. It would be a bridge between the material and the spiritual. Because of this layered meaning, every rumor of a possible discovery sparks worldwide attention. In recent years, online forums and independent researchers have circulated reports of unusual underground scans near Nebo. One group claims to have detected anomalous voids using magnetometry equipment borrowed from a European university. They have released images showing color-coded gradients that they interpret as possible man-made chambers. Professional archaeologists, however, caution that such anomalies can be caused by natural variations in rock density or ancient water channels. Without controlled, peer-reviewed studies, no conclusions can be drawn. Still, these preliminary findings keep the conversation alive. The Jordanian Department of Antiquities has expressed cautious interest in these independent reports, while reiterating that Mount Nebo is a protected heritage site. Any excavation would require careful review, funding, and international collaboration. Officials emphasize that Nebo's religious significance demands a level of sensitivity beyond a typical archaeological dig. In public statements, they encourage patience and responsible scholarship over sensational announcements. Meanwhile, theologians from various faith traditions continue to debate the Ark's possible significance if it were found. Some Christian thinkers suggest that a verified discovery could renew interest in biblical prophecy, though they remind followers that faith does not depend on artifacts. Jewish scholars sometimes frame the Ark as a symbol of God's enduring covenant, with or without physical evidence. Muslim scholars, while not claiming the Ark as part of Islamic practice, honor the connection to Prophet Musa, Moses, and view the Nebo tradition with respect. Across these conversations, a common theme emerges. The Ark's true power lies in its spiritual message rather than its physical location. History shows that great archaeological finds often reshape our understanding of the past in unexpected ways. The Dead Sea Scrolls, for example, were discovered by chance in 1947 when a shepherd threw a stone into a cave. Initially dismissed as minor curiosities, They ultimately transformed biblical scholarship and provided unprecedented insight into the beliefs and practices of ancient communities. If something as important as the Ark were ever unearthed, the academic and cultural reverberations would likely dwarf even that discovery. Yet, as many experts remind us, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Gold plating, acacia wood, and carved cherubim would provide tantalizing clues, but even these would need rigorous testing. Carbon dating could help determine the age of wooden fragments, but if the Ark was hidden in the 6th century BCE, organic material might be too degraded to test. Gold artifacts might survive, yet proving a direct link to the biblical Ark, rather than a later ceremonial chest, would be challenging. Peer-reviewed studies, chemical analysis of residues, and context within an undisturbed archaeological layer would all be essential. Beyond the scientific hurdles, political considerations loom large. A confirmed Ark discovery could ignite disputes over ownership and custodianship. Would it belong to the Jordanian state, the Jewish people, the global Christian community, or humanity at large? International conventions on cultural heritage provide some guidelines, but few precedents exist for an artifact of such cross-religious significance. Scholars predict that any credible find would trigger urgent negotiations among governments, religious authorities, and international bodies like UNESCO. Despite these complexities, interest in the Nebo tradition continues to grow. Pilgrims and tourists climb the mountain year-round, drawn by the sweeping view of the Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea. Some arrive purely for the biblical connection to Moses. Others come specifically because of the Ark rumors. Vendors in nearby Madaba sell souvenirs, small golden chests, mosaic tiles, postcards depicting the Ark in radiant light. While these are just commercial trinkets, they testify to the enduring magnetism of the legend. In academic circles, new methods are being discussed to explore Nebo's underground landscape non-invasively. One proposal involves drone-mounted LiDAR scanning at different angles and times of day to detect subtle surface irregularities that might indicate collapsed entrances or sealed passageways. Another idea is to deploy micro-robots capable of entering narrow fissures and transmitting 3D imagery. These approaches could allow researchers to gather more precise data without disturbing the sacred ground. Still, some archaeologists advocate for patience and humility. They note that even if technology eventually reveals hidden chambers, the interpretation of any find must remain careful and deliberate. A natural cavern can resemble a man-made chamber in preliminary scans. Artifacts found inside might belong to entirely different eras. The pressure to announce sensational results can easily outpace the slow, meticulous process of scientific verification. Meanwhile, local residents observe the growing international fascination with mixed feelings. Some welcome the attention and potential economic benefits. Others worry that increased speculation might bring unwelcome disruption or even illicit treasure hunters. Jordanian authorities have increased patrols and signage to discourage unauthorized digging or nighttime exploration. The spiritual dimension of the Ark story also resists simple conclusions. For many believers, the Ark's true location may remain hidden by design, a mystery intended to keep humanity focused on faith rather than physical proof. In this view, the Ark's absence is itself a kind of presence, an enduring reminder of the divine covenant that transcends time and place. Consider a thought experiment. Imagine a future excavation that does reveal an elaborately sealed chamber within Mount Nebo. Inside are fragments of acacia wood covered in layers of gold leaf, accompanied by ancient Hebrew inscriptions referencing the first temple. The discovery is documented, peer-reviewed, and verified by multiple laboratories. How might the world respond? Would religious communities experience a surge of devotion? Would governments debate the artifact's rightful home? Would skeptics accept the findings or continue to question them? These questions reveal how the Ark's mystery continues to challenge not just archaeology, but our understanding of faith, heritage, and identity. As dawn breaks over Mount Nebo, the mountain's silhouette emerges from shadow, bathed in the first light of day. Pilgrims gather again at the summit to watch the sun rise over the Jordan Valley. The Dead Sea shimmers in the distance, and beyond it the hills of Jerusalem catch the early glow. In this quiet moment, the centuries seem to fall away. Whether or not the Ark lies hidden below, the sense of connection to ancient history is palpable. Some prophecy watchers see the enduring Nebo rumors as part of a larger tapestry of signs and wonders, though careful voices remind them to speak in terms of possibility, not certainty. The enduring lesson may be that the sacred is not confined to a single location or object. The Ark, whether lost or preserved, continues to inspire a global conversation about the meeting of the divine and the human. The story's power is evident in the people who continue to seek it. Archaeologists, theologians, explorers, and pilgrims each bring their own motivations: intellectual curiosity, spiritual longing, or the simple thrill of adventure. In their diverse quests, they echo the ancient Israelites who once carried the Ark through the wilderness. A journey not just of miles but of meaning. As the day unfolds, Mount Nebo once again becomes a living mosaic of visitors. A group of schoolchildren listens to a guide recount the tale of Moses. A pair of amateur historians takes notes for a forthcoming paper on regional geology. A solitary traveler sits quietly on a stone wall, eyes closed in meditation. Each person brings their own story, adding to the mountain's layered legacy. If you have been captivated by this exploration and wish to follow future developments, whether scientific breakthroughs, new archaeological surveys, or thoughtful discussions of prophecy and history, consider subscribing to this channel. By doing so, you'll stay connected to a community committed to careful research and respectful dialogue, separating documented fact from imaginative speculation. Ultimately, the Ark of the Covenant may remain an eternal mystery. Perhaps it rests in a hidden chamber beneath Mount Nebo. Perhaps it lies elsewhere, or perhaps it was never meant to be found. What is certain is the enduring power of the story itself. Across millennia, cultures, and faiths, the Ark continues to call to those who seek connection with the past and with something greater than themselves. As evening approaches once more, the desert wind rises, carrying with it the scent of stone and sage. The mountain stands as it has for countless generations, silent yet eloquent, its secrets intact. Whether the Ark sleeps beneath its slopes or resides only in the realm of faith, Mount Nebo remains a place where history and mystery intertwine, a reminder that some questions are not meant to be answered, only pondered. And so, the journey of discovery continues, not just across the rocky ridges of Jordan, but within the hearts of those who dare to wonder.